Welcome to WT Tone. I bought my dream amp. This is it. This is a 1964 Vox AC30 Top Boost. Now, I celebrate Vox's entire catalog, but this one in particular is special. In this video, we're going to celebrate this amp. We're going to let you hear what it sounds like. We're going to talk about it, how it makes us feel. Bradford, how does it make you feel? He's behind the camera. Let's hear it. We have patches, profiles, captures available for this amp for various platforms. That's not what this video is about, but if you like the way this sounds, and I can't imagine you wouldn't like the way this sounds, and you want this sound in your modeling device, link below, Line 6 hardware, Fractal hardware, Kemper, and Quad Cortex whenever that marketplace opens up. My favorite band is, has always been, always will be, U2.
One Direction.
Call me cliche if you want. I love U2. I love the Edge. He is the most influential guitar player probably in my life. I really makes me think I need to learn some more U2 songs. But the Edge famously plays in U2 one of these, a mid-60s Vox AC30. In fact, we'll link it below. They did a rig rundown for the Edge's rig. His Vox is it's a different thing, but this is I've always wanted this amp because of U2 and the Edge and the tones that you get from it. There's a few other players that also play these amps. Brian May from Queen, one of them. The Beatles. I mean, these amps have an enormous legacy of players, and it's been sort of I've always gravitated towards the Vox sound, but this one, a mid-60s AC30 Top Boost, has always been the one that I wanted. And I found this on Reverb, and I bought it sight unseen, which is not something that I would recommend doing for a vintage amp like this. And as you can see, this thing is beat up. I would love to know the stories that this amp, where has this been, who's played it? Where has it been played? What kind of shows, what kind of bands has it been played with? I would love to know these things. As you can see, it's been through a lot. It's had a lot of modifications done. I don't know all of the history of all these modifications, so we're not going to go over it. But what I do know, I can tell you this. It is a 64. In 64 and in 65, they started transitioning from the copper top up here, the control panel, to this gray panel. They also started in 63 and then into 64, started making the Top Boost circuit from the factory. They also made non-Top Boost AC30s, which is what I believe this was. And then they would allow you to purchase the Top Boost circuit and from the factory, or you could send it to the factory and it would be, or probably an authorized repair place, and they would install the Top Boost circuit. So that's what I'm fairly certain that's what this amp is. On the back of it, you can see the bass and treble top boost controls added to this amp. So when you plug in to the Brilliant channel, you get that circuit in there. So it has 3 channels. It's like a modern Vox has a lot of the same. Our O2, we have an O2 Vox, which is a Korg era AC30. It's got the same channels because it's kind of like a recreation of this original. So you've got the Brilliant channel, which is where all that chime and high end comes from. You've got the normal channel, which I don't think people realize is a much darker voiced channel. The normal channel only has one control, the tone control, and you basically have to turn it all the way off, meaning it's the brightest it can be, and then it's kind of bright enough. The Brilliant channel, on the other hand, especially in this particular amp, is so bright you have to do everything you can to tame all of that treble and presence down. But when you get it in the sweet spot, as you're going to hear in this video, it just sounds glorious. And then it has a tremolo channel as well, so you can engage the tremolo. So it's got those 3 and then like a high and low input for each channel. This amp has the sound. It's got the original Alnico silver speakers. We'll talk about kind of the difference between what we hear in this amp versus our O2 Korg era AC30 Top Boost as well. But suffice to say, this is, if not the best, one of the best sounding amps I've ever heard in my life.
Maybe you are not as into the weeds, if I can use the phrase, as we are with tone and gear and all this stuff. I mean, at its core, this is probably real nuanced, the differences. But still, when we look at this older Vox, we also have an O2 Vox. There's a long history with these amps, and different parts, different eras, they sound different. This one, to us, is a little more, well, brilliant. It's got a little more presence, a little more like high-end chime. I would say that there's like a chime you can get in the high-end register of your EQ, and there's also, you can get like some mid-chime. I would say this is kind of like more bright and brilliant than our O2 Korg. When you listen to that thing, and we're actually about to show you, we could dial it in to be that way, but we'd have to really do some work to do it. Whereas with this, it's kind of like what you just get. Like, it's not really something you have to seek to find. It's just there. The top boost circuit in here kind of helps with that, pushes a little bit more. But the O2 is more rounded and more like mids, and it's juicier and it's a little fuller in that regard. But also, if you start trying to make it sound like this, it just kind of loses some of the power that this has on its own. So really cool. Really similar, of course. Maybe by the time it's in a mix, you got wet effects onto it. It's compressed, whether it's studio or live. Maybe they're going to sound closer. But when you're standing back to back, they're considerably different. Again, real nuanced, and maybe to some people, and again, statistics actually tell us that like 90 some odd % of people watch YouTube videos on their phone. So chances of you hearing it through the phone, I don't know. Maybe put some headphones on. But we want to show you some of the differences. Same clip. Actually, what we did was record it direct in, so there was no human error involved. It was direct in. The only thing actually is that the amps had to get moved. So the mic placement would be really the only thing that's different between the two amps. But even then, I think you're gonna, just hear kind of what we're hearing, a little different. But check it out.
So Bradford and I are going to kind of share some final thoughts with you about this amp before we close. The question is it still my desert island amp? Is it my dream amp still?
Brian, is it still your desert island amp?
Thank you.
Is it your dream amp?
Thank you for asking me that question, Bradford. Boy, that just, you really came out of nowhere with that one. Let me gather my thoughts. Okay, so in the past few years, if you follow us on our other channel, Worship Tutorials, you've noticed we've probably, over the last few years, we've acquired many amps. And a lot of those amps are based on chasing the tone, the spirit of this vintage.
They all claim to be
vintage Vox.
Right? We fixed the problem with the Vox. All of them. I didn't realize there were 400 problems.
I didn't know. It's right. So we've bought all these amps that chase the tone of the vintage AC, like the Matchless C30, for example. The Tyler HM30, which is chasing the tone of the Matchless C30, so it's a derivation of a derivation, right? The Dr. Z Z-Rec is really a recreation of Brad Paisley's 63 Vox AC30, but it's different. So we've had all these other amps that go after the sound of this vintage AC30. They're all...
We could get real into the
really,
weeds here.
Yes, we could. Don't ask us for a comparison of all of them. Actually, we might do that.
Actually, we may do that. It's easy.
Ask if you'd like. They're all really high-end modern amps. So I think, like, if I were going to choose one amp, there's really... I'll say now there's two amps in this room that have just really captured my heart. One of them is sitting right next to us. It's this red 1994 Matchless SC30.
Okay.
So, and the other one is going to be this 64 AC30.
I was really thinking we were going to do this whole video and you were going to say that.
Yeah.
But it's not for me, so the Z-Rec is it.
Yeah.
I've really thought.
The Z-Rec is great. But I think if I were going to pick one amp, it's probably the C30, the Matchless. And it's not because I don't know which one I like better. I'll say that. I love them. They both sound amazing. But, one's more reliable than the other. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Okay, so take that away from it, though.
Take that away, boy. I don't know.
You can have them in your Kemper or Quad Cortex.
And I do.
Yeah.
And you can too.
Well, not Quad Cortex, sorry. We'll get
Eventually.
there. We'll get there.
Come on, Neural. Let's make it happen.
Help us help you.
That's right. I don't know if you're going to take reliability out of the picture. Man. Well, okay, so the C30 does more sounds. Well, not really, because the Vox has the 2 channels. So does the C30.
This is falling apart.
The C30 has, it's got the gainier, like, it's a higher gain sound in channel 2. Yeah, 86
sure.
channel. But I don't know, this vintage AC30, it sounds so sweet. But one thing we noticed with the 02 versus 64, the 64 is just sweeter. Hopefully that comes through in this video. Yeah. The 02...
Probably won't, like I said earlier, probably not on your phone, so get some headphones on.
Right. The 02 is a little, like you were saying, you can get that high-end chime with it, of course, but it's harsher.
Yeah, it's different.
It's different. And the 64 just does it better, in my opinion.
So all of this is, just made us, it's spurred on another video. So we're just gonna talk about Vox a little bit more. This video was focused on the 64, but it's like there's a lot more we can talk about. So we're gonna have a special guest. We're gonna break it apart a little bit more because I mean it's kind of for what we do in the worship world. AC type amps are like it.
Yeah.
And people, and by that I don't mean it's like the thing. I just mean like they're favored. So we wanna explore a little bit more. So we're gonna have a guest. One of our buddies is gonna help us kind of dissect the history a little bit. And
we're gonna have samples of all.
We'll have
these
samples
different
of all
era
of them.
Vox
So
too.
you'll actually get because I have. I don't know, 2019 or so, 2018.
Modern, yeah.
Vox released, I forget what they call it, the SC, but so it's like an AC30, but it's only got one speaker. So we want to test that out because when I plugged that thing in, I was like, man, this thing doesn't have that chime. Well, I know why now. I understand. They're different.
Also for that one, we have a spare from the O2 Vox, O2 Alnico Blue.
Because
we're probably gonna put in there.
Because we put the 60 Silver Bell in the O2.
We do. I bought a 60 Silver Bell.
So we're gonna see what's the difference? Do the speakers change it? Is it just the amp? Whatever. So we'll do that. So make sure you're subscribed so you can check that video out because we like the sound of Voxes and Voxes.
I like Voxi.
Voxi.
Let me ask you a question before we adjourn here. This was Brian's Desert Island, all time amp. What's Bradford's?
I don't know.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Variety is the spice of life. So I don't really have much favorites.
Yeah.
Depends on my mood.
I know you like that Benson Chimera.
I do like the Chimera.
That is one of them.
Yes, it's probably close. Yeah.
It's up there, huh?
Yeah.
Well, let's put them together in stereo.
That's what I do.
Well, actually, we do that. We do Quad Cortex all the time.
So if you want this amp in your digital modeling unit, links are below, and you can have that. So thanks for joining us on this journey for the 64. We added extra stuff, but for more Voxy content, subscribe, like, follow. Tell us, do you have a Vox? Do you hear the difference between what did you think?
Question.
Let us know in the comments. It also helps the algorithm, and it's the end of the video, and not everybody follows to the end of the video anyways. So, hey, thanks for joining us.
And what's your dream amp?
Oh, yeah, do that
know.
too. Lots of stuff you can say to help pump the algorithm.
But maybe I'll buy it.
Yeah, well, it's probably not too far off. Thanks for joining us at WT Tone. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.